Many of you will be familiar with the Investor in People name, but you may not realise that Investors in People have just launched We Invest in Apprentices. So I'd now like to welcome Paul Dubois, CEO of Investors in People. Welcome, Paul. And Kirsty Thompson, Apprenticeship Compliance Manager at South Western Railway. Welcome both of you, and thank you for joining us today. Paul, I'd like to open with you. If you can explain to our audience, or for those people who aren't familiar with Investors in People, the background.
Thanks very much, Jill. Yes, Investors in People has been around for 30 years. We're an independent, not-for-profit organisation. Our purpose is really simple but powerful, and that's to make work better. Make work better for organisations, because we know that organisations who invest in their people are 21% more profitable, but also 17% more productive. It's also really good for employees. We spend over 80,000 hours of our lives at work, and it's important that we create workplaces that enable each individual to fulfil their potential. And we also have 526,000 people in the UK suffering from workplace stress. So what we do is help organisations understand how to improve their people management practices to create a happier, healthier, more productive workforce that makes their organisation more successful. And in doing that, we create a more prosperous society.
Thanks, Paul. You've just launched the We Invest in Apprentices framework, and we're going to bring an image of the framework up, by the way, so our audience will be able to see that, Paul. How did you identify the need for and the content for that framework?
Yeah, thank you. We were commissioned by the Department for Education to develop this framework. The reason that it was put in place, there's not a signal in the market to say which organisations offer really high quality apprenticeship schemes. And we believe that everyone undertaking an apprenticeship should have a high quality scheme. And that's what the government believes in as well. So what we want to do is to make it almost like an expectation of every employer that they run a really excellent scheme. And what this framework does is help employers understand what excellent looks like and gives them a route map that they can then follow in order to ensure that their scheme not only improves, but improves over the longer term. And organisations who sign up for this and meet these standards will get the benefit of the accreditation and be able to show to their employees and potential employees and their wider stakeholders that they really emphasise the importance of creating high quality apprenticeships.
And Kirsty, South Western Railway have been an early adopter of the framework. What made you decide to get involved?
We've had a relationship with Investors in People for several years now, and we're given the opportunity to get involved in the pilot. For me, I'm one of the only people in South Western Railway that actually knows about apprenticeships and promotes the programme. So for me, it was great having independent assessors coming in to start talking about how good our programme is and really doing that evaluation bit that I haven't had the opportunity to do.
So what would you say your early impressions were about the product, and what do you think the company's gained from adopting it?
I was a little bit apprehensive at first because a lot of our apprenticeships are focused on upskilling rather than the more traditional coming in as an engineer or the more traditional apprenticeship program. So when I had the first conversation with Investors in People, that was something we spoke about. How do we identify the actual upskilling colleagues within the business? I think Investors in People were very open to what I was saying and actually had to look at their framework to make sure that what they were looking to do was going to fit in with what our business model is around apprenticeships. The assessment, there was so much detail. They got so much information out of my apprenticeship colleagues, speaking to both my training providers as well. It was such a positive experience, and to get a silver accreditation out of it, that's something I'm really proud of, because I had no idea we were doing as well as an independent person would say we were.
So what would you say to companies listening to this? Why should they get involved, and why should they look at the framework?
So I now know that Investors in People are telling South Western Railway that we have a great apprenticeship programme, and I have a clear action plan and a roadmap to get us even better. And that's given me buy-in to the rest of the business. I can now start promoting our apprenticeship programme. I can use the Investors in People logo. I think it gives us a lot more recognition and there's somebody else. It's not just me saying that we're doing it really well.
Great, thank you. And Paul, finally back to you. What last words from you about your ambitions for the We Invest in Apprenticeships and how it's going to help the apprenticeship world?
Yeah, but our ambition is that there be an expectation on every employer that runs an apprenticeship scheme to work towards this accreditation, because in doing so, we'll be able to know who's the employers out there that take their apprenticeship scheme seriously and are actually committed to running a quality apprenticeship scheme. Because the framework's very holistic. You can see it covers your commitment as an employer to run an apprenticeship scheme. Do you have a business case for it? Have you got objectives? Really thought through why you're doing it? It also then focuses on the development of the apprentice. Are they well managed? Are they getting the support they need? Are they getting the career progression that they should expect? And then are you celebrating and communicating how well your apprenticeship programme is delivering, not only for the apprentice, but the overall positive impact that we know apprenticeship schemes have on organisations. So for me, it's a win-win all round. It helps the employer create a great apprenticeship scheme, creates great life chances for the individuals that go through it, but also provides a signal out there that everyone knows who the employers are that are really committed to driving apprenticeships forward and making them highly, highly successful and desirable.
That's great. Thank you very much, both. Thank you to Paul and Kirsty for giving us a rundown of the new framework. And just a reminder to members of the 5% Club, the 5% Club is in partnership with Investors in People, and we've negotiated a very good discount for our members, and there's more details on our website.